Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of Goth Yearbook. It is I, your host, as always, Eric, aka the Eric Wynn. And with me, as always, is the hostess with the mostest, Caitlin, aka the Caitlin D. Caitlin, how's it going? How's it iPadding?
I am on my iPad in jail, in my prison cell. I'm in isolation right now. I'm in solitary. I probably shouldn't joke about that, huh? It's probably not.
Maybe not kosher. I will say it does have the look of when an American journalist, I'm not going to get specific about like the wares or anything like that, but it does kind of look like you were like a CNN journalist who was kidnapped and you're like sending something like, hey, this is my last thing probably.
One thing about being on the iPad that is funny though is that I've realized in this like preamble to the show that I gestured apparently so much that it keeps telling me that I'm about to raise my hand.
That's great.
Because we're in Zoom, if anyone didn't know that.
How are you doing this evening? I just asked you a question, but I'm immediately going to just start talking. Typical man. I just have to because I can't not get this off my chest, and I feel like I won't be able to go forward with the show. Caitlin just told me an insane story right before we went on. Thankfully I was recording it, but it's something akin to we were saying like a Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen back when they were doing like those like preteen or mid-teen movies where they'd go to vacations and meet Hawkeyes. Meets like a Lifetime like
no
fucked
means
up.
like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, it's a lot of different things. I'm recording it patreon.com/Goth Yearbook or Goth Yearbook After Hours. I forget. The link is on all the appropriate places. It's very easy to find. I'm going to definitely, I was going to tell you, but we didn't have enough time. I'm going to follow up with you either after we do tonight or a different night because I have so many questions. And it's going to be up on the Patreon. I'll get up there like within the week, but if you're out there
Well, and to
and
give
this
everyone
tantalizes you, like
to give everyone an idea of what the story entailed, it was yeah. Oh, it's I actually don't know how to tease it without a total spoiler, but it ponders um whether we know if we are crazy or not, or if we are just like sometimes a victim of our own delusions. And it made me wonder at the tender age of 15 if it would be possible. Like the question was raised, like if I had some major like split in like my personality or concept of reality, like do you know that, or are you just so deeply in it that everyone around you knows it but you don't? And yeah, it's like, are you lying or are you just like genuinely in your own delusion? And then it makes you wonder, like, are you like talking to people that aren't there? Are you know, right. Like, and then it makes me question everything because I'm like, maybe I don't know how to say this without spoiling it, but I'm like,
do not spoil it. It involves
okay, all right.
It involves a young 15-year-old Caitlin meeting a 15-year-old girl on vacation, and it makes reality becomes questioned.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder, did I even meet that girl?
It's like if you ever did you ever see Black Swan, the Darren Aronofsky film? It's like that but like in a cutesy 15-year-old girl Hawaii way. It's like fucked up where it's like, did this happen? Did I ever? It's crazy. I cannot wait. Again, patreon.com/Goth Yearbook. Go check it out. It'll be up.
And I've never known peace since then.
I can't believe we're going on like what 2-3 years now, and I can't believe that I just now I'm hearing this fucking insane story. It's so insane. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It was nice to remember that story today and be like, man, I still have some weird stories locked away in my memory that will pop up every once in a while, and just they're good for like, I've been writing a lot, you know, and I'm like, they're good for, you know, putting together my juicy tidbits in writing form. It sounds really weirdly nasty for some reason.
No, actually, it's funny. The longer I am without drugs and alcohol, the more I remember stuff. Like I always think like, oh, I'm never going to remember like some of high school, and then most before high school, especially like nothing, and even a lot of high school, even a lot of post high school is pretty goddamn hazy. But to be frank, but I always have been like kind of resigned to the fact that like I'm just never going to remember any of that shit. And God, recently I think it's because I've been getting back into dream journaling actually, And
yeah,
it's actually got me like, I'm remembering so many crazy things. Unfortunately, it's a lot of stuff where like and I'll bring up a lot of it actually during the journal stuff, because I found some really good old journal things, which should be next week.
Well, and because that's what's fun about dreaming, or one of the many useful things about dreaming, is you're building this relationship between your subconscious and your consciousness, you know?
Yeah.
So you're like bringing all these things that are sort of in the depths of your awareness to the surface.
Right. I will say your story, so again, without giving anything away, it did involve you meeting someone on vacation, and it got, when you were in high school, when you were younger, and it got my mind reeling, thinking about those situations, because when you're young, a lot of the friends that you make are typically through either school or maybe like any outside school activities you do, like for me, like, you know, Boy Scouts, or if you do Little League, which I did, blah 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 blah, or it's like family friends and cousins and shit like that. So when you meet someone outside of like those things, and it's your first time really flexing your like social skills, or maybe lack thereof, it is traumatizing. I still remember to this day. This is like so, I like to even think about it right now is like having me just like shiver. When I was like in the 5th grade, I was never really that into Pokemon, but I was for 1 year, because it hit America like in 1998, let's call it, which was like right when I was in 5th grade. So it was like a perfect time. It was like right before I got into playing guitar and skateboarding. So it was like the one final year of my like true adolescence, so to speak, was
childhood,
the year that the year that came over from Japan and hit hard. And I remember this kid moved in across the street from me, and I saw that he was playing Pokemon on his Game Boy or whatever. And like, oh man, I put myself out there. I just walked across the street brazenly. And I was like, hey, let's do you like, we started connecting about Pokemon. It actually went good that time.
You Poke Pro?
Yeah. And he had an older brother, the older brother situation, and I'm sure it's kind of the same with girls when like you meet a girl and you're like, but then they have like an older sister, and like you think that she's just like a goddess, and you don't want to say anything in front of her, breathe weird in front of her. That's very true with guys when they have like a certain older brother who's kind of like, oh, he seems like such a badass. I bet he has like a switchblade type shit. When like actually you look back and you're like, oh, that guy was not only a loser, but maybe even kind of creepy. Like I should not have been hanging out with him. But this kid had an older brother who I was just like, yeah, like that's a badass man right there. Like realistically, he was like 18 months older. And I went over there one day, like this was a few weeks later, because after that time, like, you know, I didn't want to like overdo it, but I remember being like, I got a new friend, and it's like on my street. How cool is that? And one day they were like running around playing, I don't know, like water balloons like that, but they were screaming and they were kind of going crazy. So I was like, I'm going to go over there and like get in on this action. And I walked over and I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, how are you guys? Blah. And the older brother just shot me down so hard and fast. He's like, we're doing nothing. And I was, oh my gosh, to this day, I've been on like horrible dates where like, you know, something will happen. Nothing will ever top like just the, I was, not only was I crestfallen, but I was like, I felt like I just shit myself in front of my entire class. I was like that level of like you clam up, you're like, okay, well, bye. And I never went over there ever again to hang out with
them. How could you? You're not welcome, obviously. Why would you ever go there again? They hated you. No, that's so sad. And if I had any experiences like that, I probably blocked them from my memory. But most of I mean, with I don't want to make the generalization boys and girls, but I feel like it tended to be a lot more passive aggressive, you know, like
that makes
you
sense,
wouldn't like people would literally just like not sit in the same place at lunch that you normally sat, and obviously they all talked about it beforehand, but no one told you, or like you don't get invited to stuff, you know, or that kind of thing. And that's the heartbreak. But
I was certainly not invited to play water balloons.
In my case, yeah, or in my case, when I was 15, also I ended up dating that school year after the Hawaii trip. I ended up dating this like this senior, who was like kind of popular, and he was such an asshole. And we like had a really weird fucked up relationship, and then he ended up cheating on me with my best friend. And and then I lost like all my friends that year because they like didn't want to choose sides. But like if I had wanted to stay in the friend group, I would have had to hang out with like my best friend, my ex best friend and my ex together,
right,
knowing that they had like been going behind my back and stuff.
And like so rough.
So I had to basically start over, you know, like sophomore or junior year of high school with all of my friends and everything.
That's like something straight out of Mean Girls when she makes her say like, "Isn't Aaron's hair really hot?" And she's like, "His hair's hot." It's like that rough sort of like you're just forced to like sit with it.
I could go on a darker path too because it didn't get much better from there. But we can.
Let's bring it back to dreams real quickly because friend of the show, Mr. No Halo, in the YouTube chat, and Caitlin, you'd probably be a good to answer this. They want to know, are colors important in dreams? Like, you don't remember what specifically happened, but you remember the exact color sequence and emotion associated with each color, which I do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of my dreams, like, it's like a really blue wash dream or a really pink wash dream.
I definitely think everything matters in dreams, and especially things like colors, which hold a lot of emotion in them. Like, you know, you see a color, like advertising knows this more than anyone. Like, you can make people feel a certain way, or like look at cinema or anything, like by having certain colors around. And so what I always say is like, even if you don't remember your dreams, even if all you say you're like, oh, all I remember is blue, and you're like eye rolling about it, but it's like there's probably something there, you know? So write down blue, surround yourself with blue that day, notice how it makes you feel, write all your feelings that come up when you think about blue, and you're probably going to find something out, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You find out that the Cookie Monster was actually your dad.
Exactly. That's the Freudian approach.
Yeah. True. So, I'm kind of bouncing all over the place right now.
I'm like, I have my iPad propped up on my bed right now, and I have my feet like sandwiched between the mattress and the mattress, like the stand, the bed frame, and it's weirdly comforting.
It's funny. So, for anyone just hopping in the YouTube, or maybe we kind of spoke real quickly over it in the beginning, but Caitlin is using an iPad. When we first started After Hours, to however long ago it was at this point, I was testing out a lot of different things in the first couple months, and one of the things I would do is the iPad, and it's cracking me up because I can see it right now. I was telling you beforehand, but for the listener at home, Caitlin's kind of looking
into the middle distance.
Yeah, and I do the same thing. Like when you're doing the iPad thing, you naturally want to
all the time. You're like I have
a second monitor over here, and that's the YouTube chat over there. So that's why I will sometimes.
I know why you do. I'm just saying you're roasting me for having a slightly different perspective, and you're full on like this half the time.
It is funny. I was Anthony.
Here now,
Anzaldo,
I'm looking. I think.
Anthony Anzaldo from Ceremony, who was on the show last week. The podcast is up for anyone who wants to listen to it, and the YouTube, of course, is always up. And I was looking for a clip that I'm going to post later this week, just as like, hey guys, take a look. And I was watching. It's been a while since I've watched myself on the show, and there are so many times where, and for the listener at home, I'm going to be dramatically looking to the right, where like he's telling a story and I'm listening to it, like it's active listening, but I'm also like over here just making sure the levels are looking okay. So I was like, oh God, from like their vantage point, it looks like I'm just like, that's great. Because they're like, yeah, and then like, you know, my grandfather passed away. I'm like,
You're like,
so I gotta make a little better effort on that one, but it does.
For the listener who's not watching, we're doing a lot of visual cues right now. We're mostly just looking off away from the camera. Oh, I just looked away from the camera, and Prince was doing a cute little belly roll on the bed, so that was a good moment.
Will say, I also am constantly, I have animals, I have cats like running around everywhere and dogs, and that is also very distracting. So I'm always wanting to, right now I see a cat in eyesight, but I'm choosing not to look. I am going to look over here though for a second because we did get some questions. One of them.
Did we get any voicemails or just?
We did. We got a little bit of both. So I'm gonna. I have. It's funny. I rarely get it, but someone sent a text to the Hotmail because technically hotline rather you can send a text to it. Hotmail. That was my old email address. DwayneMcFly77@hotmail.com.
Dwayne McFly.
Yeah, it's like 7 different inside jokey things. McFly was just Back to the Future, but Dwayne was like a inside joke with me and my junior high crush. This person wants to know, what was your go-to song / playlist when you were indulging at the height of your addiction? Sounds like a question point to me, but Kaylin, you can also. Then they said, my songs were a combination of Everything Ends by Slipknot and 90s Euro dance / techno a la Dance Mix USA. And then they wrote, no, Halo, this might be you, actually, because this person wrote, also, Army Hammer's wife is back in the game. If that doesn't tell you all of us peasant cave trolls deserve love, I don't know what does. Army Hammer's
shit.
wife.
Like, she's back together with him?
I don't know. I didn't get... is that what they're saying? No, Halo, if you are in the YouTube chat, and that was you, because I know you.
I would love to know.
Yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more what that meant.
I would love to know what the addiction was that
this person
led to that. I feel like if you're going to say the song, you got to say what the drug was, because that.
Well, Euro dance, that's definitely, that's got to be like cocaine or an upper or something like that.
It's got to be an upper. I was going to say, yeah, because I feel like I've only ever really been addicted to weed. I've never experimented with hard drugs. And so I guarantee you, if I had ever experimented, I would have had an addictive phase, at least a phase. And I feel like, yeah, what I like to vibe out on when I'm smoking lots of weed is mostly my own music, unfortunately. Because I'm like, I fucking made this, yo. This
oh, that's great. Oh man, I love that. That's so great.
But it's usually stuff I'm actively working on, because I'll get like an earworm and it's like a song that I want to make. And so then it's like, it takes however long to like make it happen, and then you get stuck in your head, and it's just like, but it like gets very impulsive where you think about it all the time.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. But it's usually like more psychedelic kind of stuff. And that music that he was saying, yeah, or they were saying, sounded very much more like, yeah, like party drugs, like uppers.
Yeah, my without getting to like the weeds of like the what and the what, but the first thing that actually brought to my knees was like uppers basically, and then I went to downers because the uppers were like, oh, I feel like I'm going to bed thinking I'm gonna have a heart attack every night. But when it was uppers, it was for sure. That was like 2008, which was like the peak era of, not to get like too boring on this, but like French New House. It was like right after that band Justice, if anyone remembers them, they were getting really big. A lot of people on that Ed Bangers Records label. So it was like a lot of like fun stuff that like whatever, like the music festival electronic acts of that particular year and time in music. And yeah, it was a great time to be doing like club drugs and going to clubs, man. It was really fun. I'm not gonna lie. It just, unfortunately, I'm the kind of person that has an addictive personality, so I had a little bit too much fun, and then it was no longer fun. But man, right before I went to rehab, I do remember that I was going through this period, because it was like a dark time, but like my my comfort food of sorts was watching the Talking Heads Stop Making Sense, which is like their famous live movie where he wears like the big oversized suit and all that. I'd watch that every single night. I would like pass out to that and like wake up in the middle of the night sometimes, because I'd have it on repeat on the DVDs. So for whatever reason, and I still love it actually. There's a lot of songs from that era that like sometimes I hear it and I kind of cringe because it reminds me of like that downfall. But that's that's like sacred text, that movie. So I'll always love it and love watching it. But I also was really into 60s girl groups and like pop stuff from the 60s during that time. I was listening to like a lot of like Shangri-La's and the Ronettes and stuff like that. So Which, because a lot of that music, even though it's so poppy, sounded so depressing, and it just like perfectly matched me, like being on like these really fucked up like downer kicks kind of thing. So a lot of that, like
I've
I'll
been
hear
wanting
like,
to.
It was like, like I still get in that headspace just hearing certain songs.
Yeah, I've been wanting to actually experiment, especially because I don't have any electric guitar down here, right? Not like that. No, I've been wanting to experiment with making like French poppy kind of sounding like. Of course, now that we're like live, I can't think of the name of the band that I could probably easily think of any other time, but yeah, just like the kind of like loungy music, you know, just like lots of like boop boop boop, because you can kind of do whatever you want with Logic without and like a keyboard without having a whole ton of instruments. And I feel like I tend to immediately go in the direction of sad music when I'm just left to my own, when I'm not like, okay, write something chipper.
Do it.
But yeah, it would be fun to do that kind of like
the one that comes to mind. I'm sure you've listened to them. I'm sure you've heard songs of theirs if you're not already like a big fan of theirs. But Air, the French band Air, they wrote a lot of like cool electronic, also meets lounge stuff. Moon Safari, that's like their greatest album. A lot of people know their song "Sexy Boy," which is featured on the 10 Things I Hate About You soundtrack. Sexy boy, when they drop the flyers down the stairwell. I've seen that movie a bunch.
If you're doing Goth Yearbook bingo tonight, Eric has brought up being in the Eagle Scouts and 10 Things I Hate About You already. So you got to, I don't know if I've done anything. Maybe just
dreams. Talking about dreams, I guess.
Talking about dreams, yeah. So
that's like a big one for both of us.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about your music stuff?
Addiction?
Is that are you kind of keeping a plug on any potential?
No, I have no problem talking about any of it because
Caitlin sent me a fucking bang. Oh, I love that. You sent me something to work on. It's really good. I didn't know how much you wanted to like press it up.
Yeah, no, I don't care. I'm gonna release it really soon. A friend of mine is mastering a friend in San Diego, whom I love, but I'm pretty much not being very fussy about anything I release right now, just because honestly, not to be a bummer, but like I feel like putting months into the release and a bunch of money, it like hasn't ever really done a whole lot for me. And so I'd rather just like get stuff out there at this point. I'm still trying to be like a bit of a perfectionist about the mix and the vocal tapes being good, and you know, the timing of stuff, because I can be a little sloppy in those departments as a kind of baby producer. But like, I also, at this point, I'm just like, I haven't written a song in a while. I realized this month, it's actually going to be the 2-year anniversary of Tender on Valentine's Day.
Isn't that crazy? I see that on my thing because I was playing some stuff on the show, on the radio show back then, and I see that. I'm like, that's so fucking crazy.
Yeah, and then a year later, almost to the week, I released Deus Ex Machina. So I was like getting that itch of like, I gotta put something out there. And I have been writing a lot more, not music, but trying to write like this novel I'm working on, and also trying to write. I'm also doing a tremendous project right now of like trying to transcribe all the shit that I write in my journals over the years and moving it onto something on a computer so that it's like in a digital file, because what tends to happen is I will just throw away a bunch of journals or burn them after a while, so I don't have to lug them around.
Right.
But there's a lot of interesting stuff in there sometimes. So anyway, I haven't been doing much music, but I really needed to blow off some steam. And it was such a relief to actually do that. And then I ended up actually being very happy with the song. It's less than 2 minutes, and it is a huge bummer. So, you know, everything you would expect from a Caitlin D project.
Yeah. Also, I think it's, I don't know, it expands on sounds that you were playing on, like you said, from the last one, but going in, that's always my favorite, is when artist kind of keeps like following a new thread of sorts, you know. I always find that the most exciting, and this is definitely like more of a departure from Tender for sure.
Yeah, and no guitar.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here, guitar. That's what we say around here. Hi, Murph.
No, I miss my guitars. If you're gonna be in an undisclosed foreign location anytime soon, please bring me my electric guitars. I foolishly left them all behind, and now I'm like, why?
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I would, because I always tell people what I like about the guitar for me, because I'm so ADHD. Actually, I can like really pay attention if I have it in my hand, because it's like one of those things I've been playing for so many decades that like my fingers just know what to do, and I can actually like pay attention. So if I'm watching a show or if I'm listening to like an audiobook and I have it in my hand, I'm just like quietly playing it like along to it. My brain is kind of like, the fidget spinner shit. Like it instantly starts.
I wish I was like that, because I hold a guitar and I mostly feel nothing but shame and frustration. Until I get in the zone and I have a bunch of tracks, and then if I have an electric guitar in my hand and I have something to go along with, when I start making solos and then playing with like tone and stuff, then I get really in the zone. But when it comes to just noodling around on a guitar, I fucking hate it because I'm not good at it. And because after years of doing massage therapy for a living and also like playing guitar at punk rock shows and stuff, my hands don't feel very good.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And I'll say this, for as long as I'm playing, it is shameful that I'm only at a certain level. I should be like fucking a virtuoso by now, considering how many years I've been playing. But like I decided long ago, I was like, I'm never gonna be like these guys are being like sweep picking like. So I was like, I'm just gonna like learn how to play the G chord perfectly, like the basics.
Hey, I can nail a G chord. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. All right, let's
do a voicemail.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh my goodness, I apologize to both Caitlin and the listener. Total. God, you would think that this is my first night ever doing this, because I forgot to share the computer audio, so you weren't going to be able to hear that. So I just changed that. Now we will play it.
This is Robin, also known as Regulin. My question is, if every time you enter or leave a room, a theme song played, what would it be and why? Okay, that's it. Bye.
I like the inclusion of and why. It's like, because they knew that we would try to just be like, all right, well, this is the song by. But they're like, no.
What did they say in the beginning?
They said, hi, this is Robin.
Oh, hi, Robin. Thank you for the question. I know.
Hi, Robin. Thank you for the
question. Robin, first of all, thank you. I'm like in a court of law right now.
You use very like presidential responses over there.
Yeah, I'm giving
First of all, thank you for the question. We always appreciate our listeners. We appreciate our questions. What if we didn't even answer? We're like, anyways, so what have you been watching?
I know my answer. Do you know yours?
I don't, so please go ahead, because gosh, I wish I.
All right, I can't. I don't remember the name of it or who wrote it.
If you're just joining us, Caitlin is going to tell us what the theme song of her life is without knowing the name of it or who performs it.
Which is perfect for me, by the way.
Yeah.
What's the "Come My Lady, Come My Lady" song?
Butterfly by oh boy, I can't believe I'm blanking on their name. The listeners right now are like,
you look it up, and I'll just
Crazy
say
Town. Butterfly by
Crazy Town. That's it. Yeah,
used to great effect in the movie Orange County with Colin Hanks.
I weirdly kind of unironically love that song. I think it's a really bewitching song, and I think it would be really cool to walk into a room.
Oh my god!
And it would be hilarious. It's a conversation starter.
Did you say it's bewitching?
It's bewitching. And I also have to say, one time I was like going to a birthday party and I was an amoeba, and I like wanted to get them a gift, but I was an amoeba and I like didn't really know what the person's musical taste was, and I found a vinyl of just that song, and I was like, this is a perfect gift.
That is a perfect gift. And you asked what did they say before, and now I'm thinking that maybe the part you might not have heard, but it doesn't matter because that's a perfect answer, was not only is it the theme song that plays every single time you. Oh, are you all right?
It was just like a little mosquito or a gnat, but I thought it was a spider coming down.
Yeah, for the listener at home, Caitlin started punching the air as if a intruder came into the room. And you already have like this prison background looking thing, so it's as if like the guard came in and you're like, no.
To give me my gruel.
Yeah. Good old gruel.
Sorry, they were saying not only my theme song, but what?
it would play every single time you entered and left the room, which I think that makes that song even better. That makes that choice
That's
even better.
The part I paid attention to. The theme song for My Life, I think, would be maybe something else, but that would definitely be the song that I would want to play every time I walked into a room.
Yeah, I
Bow, wow, bow.
I did think so way back when we were naive and thought that we would do a live show the very first year that we were doing this, and like there's still lockdown so much, like we got a ways to go. We will eventually, absolutely. There will come a day. But I did used to fantasize about how funny it'd be if we came out to Harry Nilsson singing "I Can't Live If Living Is Without You." I like the narcissistic aspect of me playing that every single time I leave or enter a room. Where it's like that's what people have to hear. It's not me towards them. It's like this is what I assume it's like for you guys. It's like every single time I leave or enter, it's just people thinking like, I can't live if living is without you.
So is that your choice?
That is my choice. Yeah, that would be the song I'm playing as I entered and left. Either that or the Rocky theme song. The dun 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 dun.
Nice. Yeah,
that's a good, like, people know what's going on if you're entering. That's a good enter. I don't know if that's a good exit. That'd be weird if like every single time you left a room, you're like, all right, bye, and then those horns start up. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I like that.
Where it's like the wedding march every time you walk into a room.
Yeah. Yo, what's that old timey Irish one? Oh, Danny Boy, like something like that. Where it's just like,
Danny Boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen. Okay.
I was trying to do this one earlier. It's a voicemail, but for some reason the audio on it, every once in a while, like it fucks up one of these audios. But someone wanted to know who. I have to like kind of, because the Google translation is always very interesting, but the short end of it is they want to know who was the ultimate teen comedy boyfriend / hot guy, let's call it, because I kind of am confused of how it phrased it out. But so like the guy that the girl was trying to get with, or maybe he was the main person he was trying to get with the girl, but who was the ultimate? And this is the same person like a couple weeks ago that I can tell by the area codes. They sent us one about the mean girl, so now they want to know the guy.
Yeah, I unfortunately had probably my first crush was Zach Morris.
Okay, that's great. I mean, Kelly Kapowski was like my first crush too. I mean, those two were dynamite for a certain age group for sure. You're talking about Saved by the Bell, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and the timing for like how old we were at that time too was like right during the sexual awakening.
You get him like at when he's like cute, preppy young boy, and then like just over one season he grows like a foot tall too and becomes like a man. So like I can understand for a girl especially, like, well, that was true.
He's
for
a good looking guy.
Yeah.
And he also treated all the women like shit, and that was definitely the turn on. I'm just kidding.
Like
it was the 90s.
It was a definite turn on.
It was the 90s. We didn't know any better yet, or as a society, we hadn't decided to aim higher yet.
Yeah, there's like a lot of.
Although apparently, with television shows on now, we still haven't decided to aim higher. Well, if you watch Euphoria, oh Jesus. I will say though,
shouts out Cassie. We're rooting for you to make better decisions.
Oh God, I have two other amendments though. The first person that came to my mind was Paul Rudd, Josh.
Oh yeah,
in Clueless. But that's not really like.
That wasn't his like
that.
That wasn't the
he
one.
He seems like a man because he's like in college. So he's not like the cool high school guy, you know.
Well, who's he reading? It's not. Who the fuck is it? He's reading that book out by the pool, and it's someone so like.
I don't know. I don't remember. But my other thing is, I feel like the perfect answer, but it's not really an answer because he wasn't ever in an actual teen movie, would be young Leo. Because he was like the ultimate.
He
never did
leapfrogged over that. I mean, you could Basketball Diaries. I would not. Call.
No, he's only ever done like Oscar-winning, like amazing, incredible movies, and no, he never like stooped to like the high school movie. But he was like the ultimate dream boy in Romeo and Juliet, and he was a teenager.
Yeah.
So,
man,
were
that's
they
crazy.
in school? No.
Because he was on Growing Pains, which like everyone has to do like a little bit of that, but like immediately after that, he just like leaped right to like being in like real critically acclaimed dramas like, for the most part.
Yeah, What's Eating Gilbert Grape and shit.
Ugh.
The other, I feel like a lot of maybe a similar answer, but I never particularly cared about Jordan Catalano, Jared Leto.
Yeah, I don't mean to offend any of our fans out there, but man, talk about I do not like him at all as a person.
Jared Leto or Jordan Catalano?
Jared Leto.
He
is like the epitome of just like the most pompous asshole in my opinion. But
I don't know much
like
about
him. That's fine. I'm not here to win.
I've always been completely neutral about him. I just never really, it's not that I don't understand why. I think he's very pretty looking, but it was never my cup of tea. But also, I really liked Harvey from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, he was
like guy next door. He wasn't like super hot.
He was a himbo too.
Mm-hmm.
He was very dumb and just kind of like, hey, I'm just here to fucking throw a football around.
Yeah.
That wasn't Chris Pratt, was no, it wasn't. Oh, no. Whoever it is. We love
he is an actor. I forget his name, but
is he an actor? I would not I thought he was just a guy.
He did not age as handsomely as Chris Pratt, unfortunately. And I don't want to be rude because we all age. But anyway, I really liked him. It got really dark.
Put that on the bingo.
We all get old and die. All right. So Kelly Kapowski for you, or do you want to throw out any others?
Well, I mean, hey, listen, if we're hitting that bingo, you know that I always gotta shout out my boy Heath Ledger in 10 Things, career-defining moment when he sings that Frankie Valli song that I'm blanking on right now.
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh.
We have a triple bingo because he's now brought it up twice, and he's fangirling out about the fucking song again.
Oh shit!
I never had a thing for Heath Ledger either, but I think he's an amazing actor.
I always thought, I'm trying to think of like from the guy point. I did always think that I was very jealous. I'll say this: I was very jealous of Devon Sawa because he got to make out with Christina Ricci.
I think it's just Devon. Devon.
Is it really?
I mean, I guess Devon's a name too, but I think it's just Devon.
Well, there's an O. If it was Devon, then wasn't it fucking Devon? Anywho, Devo Sawa. He got to make out with Christina Ricci in not just one but two movies. He makes out with her in Casper, of course. When Casper turns into a boy for a second, which is fucking crazy.
And Now and Then.
Now and Then, buddy. That's right. When they're playing.
I was jealous. I was very jealous of Christina Ricci for the same exact reason, but also he's not into women, I think.
In real life? I think he's married with like children.
Oh, really? I always thought that he like dated some guy from the Backstreet Boys or something.
Are you just thinking that because he looks like the dude from the Backstreet Boys?
No, I think that my brother just told me that, but my brother has told me a lot of things over the years that haven't necessarily panned out to be true. He also told me that Oreos were made out of whale blubber, and like me, and this was before you could just fact check things on the internet super fast. So like me and several of my friends didn't eat Oreos for a long time.
I'll say this. He is married to a woman.
Oh, okay.
And what a woman. I'll just say that. Almost to the point where it's like, okay, buddy. But, you know, hey, maybe that's, you never know. Maybe your brother has some good intel. So, and if it ever comes on TMZ, you heard it here first. You heard it here on Goth Yearbook
or breaking news from the 90s. And maybe also he's just attracted to human beings, as we all are.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Good night. All right.
Speaking of good night.
Someone wants to know.
Prince of Vision.
Actually, this is kind of good because I don't know if this would be your answer, but do you have a favorite fictional pet or animal? Because Salem from the original Sabrina, I mean, talk about
it's hilarious.
He's so fucking funny, dude. That's like a good comedian. He knew his timing. He's a fucking cat. He talks. I mean, what else? What do you need? What else do you need?
Just constantly talking shit. He's always like, I don't know, like getting hookers and going to Vegas or something. Like he just has this like really gnarly, creepy personality, but he lives in a teenage girl's bedroom.
Yeah, which is I guess also, and he kind of like sounds like he's trying to sound like Bill Murray. Is always he'll be like, oh boy, like some like the early Bill Murray noises. So like, I can't eat anymore. Like doing a lot of weird shit like that. Oh, it's fun, hilarious.
I always thought Abu was really cool because he can like help you do crimes.
Yeah. Yeah, like a real. I was just thinking about the other day. Aladdin has there's like a Les Mis aspect to it. Like a lot of tumultuous things happen because of bread being stolen, almost being stolen. I guess maybe it was an apple in Aladdin. Technically,
Jasmine also had a dope pet, Raja.
Oh, yeah, that was a fucking sick tiger. Who. I'm trying to think of like, in the 90s, and I'm not going to be able to pull one now, but I feel like in the 90s, that was when they really started to like hammer this like cliched character of like the precocious child who's like advanced for their years. I think it like trickled down from Breakfast Club because like, and the John Hughes movies because they all talked like they were adults in those movies. And then it like, they kept like pushing it to younger ages. So then like you'd have something like Gilmore Girls where she's like 14 and she's like referencing the fucking Velvet Underground and all this other crazy shit, which I guess isn't that crazy because, but anywho, long story short, I feel like in the 90s it was like this like cliche thing where it'd be like a boy or girl and they would be like advanced for their young age. And so thus their animal friend would also be advanced for their age. So it'd be like not just a dog, but a dog who could like peel a banana and do your taxes and then look at you.
What are you referencing? What is a single reference for this trope?
It exists in my mind and now I'm like, I want to watch this movie. The dog who did her taxes.
You never reacted to it because you were on your little Instagram hiatus or whatever when you were doing your job. There was that one meme that was like, God, the women that you sent to Earth to like lay in bed and read novels are doing their own taxes.
That's funny. That's good. You sent that to me?
Yeah.
I'm bummed I didn't
come on.
Well, sometimes, when I go missing for 24 hours and I come back, there's like 20 in my ADHD. I'm looking at the most brightly colored ones. And you also like, you'll sneak in there like these little tidbits of like, oh, by the way, like I met someone and married them. So I'm like,
no, I'll send you like snapshots of fucking Bumble conversations that went nowhere. I wish they were I met someone and married them.
I don't know how.
Well,
we might have to say that for another. Yeah. Those are very fun.
Let's not get into my love life in this episode. All right, next question.
Oh my gosh. What famous person who is dead do you wish could tweet from beyond the grave?
I thought it was gonna be which famous person do you wish was dead?
Oh, I got plenty of those. Jared Leto.
Right now, it's
who is our guest next week, by the way.
Which famous person could tweet from the grave? Do I wish could tweet from the grave?
Yeah, how many times? Yes. Oh, just came to my mind, and hey, hitting that bingo of the show, Edgar Allan Poe. I'd love to see what he did. It's just like
he would be huge on Twitter. I feel like
he'd be like,
him and like
DoorDash is
Wild,
rasping out my door.
Byron.
Yeah.
Like,
Mary Shelley would give you like one great tweet and never tweet again. It would just be like one tweet and it's pinned from like 2017 and it's like perfect, and then you never see another tweet from her again.
I don't think she could keep her thoughts on her 180 characters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those, those tweet chains where it's like 40 and you're like, okay, am I really going to do this? And you're like, where's the BuzzFeed article that like kind of
TLDR Mary Shelley.
Yeah. TLDR, this guy made a monster. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I would say, I guess like cool authors like that. Tolstoy. I'm gonna go with Tolstoy. I feel like he'd have some real bangers, like one-liners.
I'll stick with Poe. I do think he would like find I'm hoping he'd be like self-aware, so then he would like take modern things and be like, oh, the pit and the I don't know. I can't. I'm not.
Those would be fun. Yeah, you shouldn't try to do a Poe tweet off the cuff. It's hard.
Yeah, it's fucking shit.
You would have to like do a bunch of opioids and like stay up at night drinking and have sex with your cousin, and then you'll be ready for a Poe tweet off the cuff.
Someone wanted to know, actually, this came to us like a week ago or so, and I've been sitting on it. They want to know best and worst Uber experiences. And I think it's because I was talking on the show for a bit about needing Uber back when my truck was on the fritz. And boy, howdy, man, I have there's like a lot, and I don't want to get too much into it, but I'll just say this, man. Uber drivers just never, at least I'll say the ones around Santa Rosa, they just do not give a shit about the beauty of silence, and they don't care about the social cues or they don't want to pick up on anything that you're throwing out. So if you get in after a long day of work and you're kind of trying to throw it out there like, I just don't want to talk, they don't care about picking that up. I'll tell you that much.
It is, I feel like it's just as rude to force conversation upon someone as it is to ignore them.
Yes. Thank you. I completely agree. And don't get me wrong, like, there's one thing, if you want to test the waters and like someone picks up on it, that's cool. But if they don't, and if it's like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning or at the end of the day, it's like, when you know that that's like pre or post work times realistically, drop it.
I have a really good bitchy voice, so I'm usually able to end those interactions like really fast. It's very hard for me to get out of a conversation with someone I want to feel like appreciated by me, because I feel like it's very hard for me to like set a boundary with someone that I really enjoy spending time with, even if I'm like completely fucking drained. But when it's someone that I am like never gonna see again, I have no problem giving like the rudest fucking like I'll be like your friend's older brother and be like, nothing. I'm doing nothing. Especially if it's a man, because I already have all this like built up rage towards like men feeling entitled to my time and energy and attention.
Right.
And so I'll just shut it down really fast. But I have a couple, and it's really bad in LA too, because also a lot of them are like aspiring.
Oh, I cannot
actors. Wait. Yeah.
Well, that's mine. I'm going to do in a second, but I'm going to let you do yours first. But yes, I'm glad we're going down this road.
I have 3, but they're all really quick.
Okay.
The first that came to mind was one time I was very hungover, and apparently there's a program with Uber where if you drive Uber for like 2 weeks in the year and you have a Tesla, you get like a 5-figure tax break. Right. So every once in a while you'll get like these Uber drivers who are literally in their like, $200,000 cars picking you up. And I was so fucking hungover, and I was going to a waitressing job downtown, and it was like 10 a.m. and this fucking Uber with suicide doors pulls up and I just get in and I don't see a fucking word to the guy. Like, I don't make any comment about like being in a fucking spaceship, because it was one of the really fancy ones, right, with like the whole glass ceiling and like everything. And we just drove wordlessly downtown, and he dropped me off. And I was like, he's probably so fucking happy I didn't like start a whole conversation about his goddamn Tesla with him, you know?
I bet.
Or he was like desperately craving the attention of it. Yeah. But I was like, he must think I'm like, I wonder what he thinks of me, that I'm like, I just get in an Uber and I'm like, whatever, suicide doors, who cares? But I was just trying not to throw up. And another one that was horrible was it's actually not even that interesting of a story, so I'll make it really quick. I was trying to leave a party, and it was in Echo Park, but it was Uber Pool, and literally the driver kept getting almost to my house and then getting pinged and going back to the party and picking someone else up, and then getting almost back to my house and then getting pinged and going back to the party and picking someone else up. And it happened like 4 or 5 times. It was like an SUV or something. I was like, I'm never taking Uber Pool again. And one of them, of course, ended up being this guy that I like matched on Tinder with, but then going out with, and then he ended up dating a friend of mine. Anyway, so that was like a whole disaster. And then I forget the other one, so you tell one.
Okay, so this one guy picked me up. So it's Santa Rosa, mind you, so you're likely to get picked up by the same driver more than once. There's actually a lot of drivers around here, but it's also not LA. And this one guy picked me up, and the first time he talked to me about COVID, and he had like this speech about mankind a little bit. It felt like he's definitely said it for like a lot of people and yada yada. It's all good. It was stuff I agreed with, but and then he did mention how he plays guitar and makes music. That was the first time. He left at that. So what's funny is it's funny to say matched with as if it's like Tinder. I matched with him the very next morning when I was, and this is like on the way to work. This is like especially like when you're like, oh, just like please like be quiet.
Yeah.
He picked me up again. He proceeds to say, like, he asked questions that I realized the second time are leading to him giving that same speech again. So
he didn't remember you?
No, he didn't. Which I was like, first of all, it's fucked up. And secondly, well, it's not fucked up, but you know how I am, narcissist. And secondly, it's like, wait, okay, so now I feel like I'm forced into like this very manufactured conversation that felt organic. Because yes, the day before I was a little into it, and I was like, yeah, like I agree, and this is human connection. And then the next day, it's like, oh, it's not human connection.
He doesn't even remember telling you.
And then. Because it all leads to the guitar thing, and this time because we hit a little bit of traffic, so now I'm like, oh, it just depends on the length. He proceeds to start playing the music, and then he starts to tell me where I can find the music.
Oh God.
And I kid you not, when he's dropped me off at my office, as we're pulling in, he like, you can tell he's like, okay, I gotta speed up. So he's like, yeah, so if you go to YouTube and just say go like and subscribe. And he's like, if you could go comment, and like, in the comment, what you could say was, he told me what to write in my comment, even on his YouTube. He's like, yeah, man, just be like, hey, Carlos, like, I love the music, because he was from Argentina. So he kept like, he's like, yeah, man, and just like type in there like power to the people of Argentina. And I was like, I feel like that would look very weird if I wrote that. Not that I don't believe that, but like, I don't know, I feel weird now being like,
I feel like it's a little different if he's like has like immigrated to America and is trying to make it as an artist. Like I feel a little more for him now.
I
if he's like from Ohio and
well, he was born in America. His family's from Argentina, and he went and visited there, and I guess he was like inspired, which is all cool. But no, I'm sorry, he was like full on telling me how to comment and what to write, and it was the same manufacturer thing that got to like that point. Like
it's a bit much. I definitely have had Uber drivers in LA that like would straight up like, I would be telling, especially because I grew up in Los Angeles, and so I kind of know my way around pretty well. And when people are driving me that like just have lived there for 2 months, I can be a little like, I want to tell them how to go places, because it can be very confusing, and there's a lot of freeways, and often there's a much better way than what your Google Maps or whatever is going to tell you.
Yeah.
But when they like are too busy talking to like take those directions, and especially like one time it was happening with this guy who was like an actor, and he was talking about like his projects, and it's like you can tell he's talking about this stuff because he's hoping someone that he's driving is going to help him out, and like
well, it's me, Christina Spielberg, Steven's niece. Let me tell you something,
like,
buddy.
Bro, I'm like trying to like go like rehearse with my band that like has 15 likes on Instagram, just relax. Like I can't help you, and I just want to get where I'm going. And if you miss this exit again, I'm going to be an hour late because there's not another exit for 40. It's just like, so that would drive me crazy. I remembered the story though that I wanted to tell. which was actually involves a dream. And I can't remember if I've told this story before. But it was when I was in a relationship, and I had this dream one night, and we liked to party together a lot. And we did a lot of like partying, going to a bunch of shows, like show hopping and whatever.
Wink, wink.
And as in drinking alcohol and going to bars and watching bands play.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah. And one time I had this dream that in the dream, we were like blacked out drunk. We were very drunk, almost blacked out drunk. And we got in an Uber, and the Uber didn't have enough seats for everyone. So I sat on someone's lap. I think I sat on his lap, and we got into like a horrible car accident, and like people died.
Oh, fuck.
And then like literally a few days later, I was with this guy, and we were waiting for an Uber. And it was like our third Uber of the night. You know, we were like all over the place, and we were with friends. And I had called the Uber, but I hadn't put enough people in my phone. I had said one or something, and we had two people, because when you're drunk and you're like trying to get an Uber, right, you're like looking with one eye, and you're like, I think I called it. So much
like
less
getting
are you
in
calling
a stranger's car, like, this might be it.
Much less are you like saying the correct number of people that you have to pick up. And they show up, and it's an Uber pool, and in fact, they didn't have enough seats in the car. And but the Uber driver was like, oh, that's okay, just sit on his lap. And we were about to pile in this fucking car. And I suddenly just got like chills up my fucking spine. And I was like, no, we can't get in this car. Like, if we get in this car, we're gonna fucking die. And so we like canceled that Uber. It took us like 30 minutes to get another one. But I was like 100% sure that if we had taken that Uber, we would have fucking died.
Oh my gosh. And then you found out the next day that man was Childish Gambino that you were on a date with. And he thanked you years later at an award show. He's like, hey, that Uber driver died, actually. And
no, what if it, like, that Uber would have changed my life, like, for the better? Like, I would have met, like...
It was actually, like...
the best night of my life.
Like, everything was downhill from there.
Thanks, dreams.
Okay, we've hit that hour mark. And I like to always save some of the stuff for the next time we do a mailbag, but we do want to end on the night. We're going to do it, my friend, and it's not going to be one of the better ones, but I did find a euphoria. We're going to do, we always, for those of you out there, maybe this is your first time joining us, we always end our shows with a personality quiz that we scour the internet for, and tonight is no different. I found one. We were talking before the show about trying to find which character from Euphoria you are. And it hasn't trickled down.
Euphoria's very hot right now.
Yeah, it hasn't trickled down to like the real good personality quiz places for like where you're getting like a true preteen. These are like adults who are doing this, unfortunately, which is sad. But hey, what can you do? So this one is from BuzzFeed.
I am wondering, did you watch the most recent episode of Euphoria?
I did, yeah.
It ruined my entire day the other day. I had like a lovely day at these hot springs with friends, and then I came home and I was like, I want to just like relax and watch an episode of television. And I watched it, and I ended up having like a massive anxiety attack.
Which part specifically? Just all of it, or like Cassie getting called out, or
just Rue being a fucking train wreck of a human being?
Yeah, it's actually it's hard like for me to really talk about without getting too deeply into it. It's like a weird show where I'm like, I don't think it's a good show, but I think that the acting and the way it's done is good, like great. Mm-hmm. The acting's great. The way it's done, sometimes like whatever, sometimes good, sometimes not. The show itself, I'm like, oh, it's just so fucking bleh.
It's the classic, like, something that panders to an audience that it's not actually written by, you know?
Yes, exactly. But I will say that episode, I would say, is the best one of this season. I thought it was really great. It was, I definitely, the tension was racked up. So let's find out which of these bad people you are. Okay. Choose something to do on a Friday night. Road trip, alone time with the significant other, mall, or chilling at home.
Road trip, significant other,
mall, chilling at home.
Mall or chilling at home.
So I guess that's like loner chilling at home compared to like chilling with your significant other.
I'm sorry. Can you say all the options one more time? Because they're all jumbled in my brain.
It's so funny as you said.
I know, but I'm mixing. I'm like road trip with a significant other.
Road trip. Alone time with significant other. Just alone time with yourself or them all.
I guess
you're like
alone time because I don't have a significant other. Alone time with my significant other, and it's Prince.
So that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I forgot to tell you that there was one that said specifically with Prince too. Choose a sport: baseball, cycling, boxing, tennis, volleyball, or no sports for me.
Boxing.
Choose an artist. Oh my gosh, this thing. Georgia O'Keeffe, Frida, Warhol, Jackson Pollock, Monet, or Salvador Dali.
Frida.
Okay. The unibrow. Choose a place to live. Oh boy, here we go. I'll save it for last, in fact. Studio in New York. A big house in the best neighborhood. Doesn't say where. Apartment in Seattle. A white picket fence in the suburbs. A penthouse apartment with a view. Or a beach house.
I guess the beach house has been a little scarier than I thought it would be.
Because of spiders and lizards and snakes and toads.
No, I am terrified of like a tsunami coming and just like sweeping me away.
That is actually a real thing. Shout out to this morning when you told me a story about a toad and I responded with, well, that's crazy that happened with the snake. And it was a very genuine response from me. It wasn't me being joking.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say penthouse just to mix things up. Penthouse with a view.
Choose a pet: a dog, a guinea pig, a snake, a lizard, a fish, or a cat.
A cat.
Meow. Choose a vacation: Hawaii. Shout out to the Patreon exclusive that'll be dropping later this week. Berlin, Portland, Seattle, New York City, or the Turks and Caicos Islands.
I'm going to go with Turks and Caicos. I've never been there. And also, I have to put in there because I was talking about Hawaii. Don't visit Hawaii right now if you are not from there. They are asking people who are tourists from the mainland to please not visit the islands at this time. So respect the islanders, please.
Got it. Will do. Pick a song.
I don't know how Turks and Caicos feels, honestly.
Yeah,
so.
I was gonna say as you choose that instead. Pick a song.
Everyone's welcome in Mexico right now, though. I will say that.
Fair enough. Pick a song from this list. I don't know a lot of these songs, to be honest. Maybe you do. Cheap Queen by King Princess. It's a lot of titles in one chunk. Cheap Queen by King Princess. You Should See Me in a Crown by Billie Eilish. Got a lot of like royalty type shit.
I thought that was by Lorde.
You Should See Me in a Crown. No, that's just. Are you thinking Royals?
I don't fucking know. All right, keep going.
Rhiannon by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh.
Nonstop by Drake. All of Us by Labyrinth, or Work From Home by Fifth Harmony.
I only really know Rhiannon. And I love that song, so I'll go with that.
Perfect. Pick an eye makeup look. Okay. It's visual, so I'm going to tell you. So
okay,
there's
great.
like the classic Euphoria where it's like the purple with a little bit of the teal, where it's like kind of like that smear. Then they have one that's like, all of these have glitter, by the way. Like, of course.
I love this new segment of you describing eye makeup to me.
They all have glitter. I'm just gonna.
They all have smear, and there's glitter.
So the first one again is a smear of purple. I'm doing it for the listener at home. I'm smearing on my eye.
Like a smear.
It's a smear of purple with a little bit of the teal on the end there.
The titular eye makeup.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes. Then this one has glitter, and it's like red beads to look like eye drops that are blood. Or teardrops rather, that are blood.
It sounds cool.
This one is like, it's a lot of smear going on, but it's like metallic. It's metallic blue, and she also has like her fake eyelashes in, falsies, I think they're called, or is that teeth? And they're like super, big and claw-like, and a lot of glitter. And it's like a royal blue that's metallic and smeared. Then this girl has like a bunch of beads, but they're all like random shapes and random colors. So it's like her being, it's like a lot of pinks and yellows and things like that. It's her kind of being like, I'm unique. This one is like a gorgeous smear just above the eye.
You have to stop saying smear.
I don't know what it's called. And it's like orange. And it's actually, there's no glitter. There's nothing else. So it feels like a little understated compared to everything else going on here. It feels very like classic. And it's just like the smear. But it is like orange. So I don't know if most people would like that, to be honest. And then the last one, the classic raccoon eyes. I'm trying not to say smear.
Raccoon?
Yeah, like when emo kids, like they kind of put like they make it just like a kind of purple.
Black.
Not black necessarily. It's like red almost. It makes it so it looks like you haven't slept in a while. Like Jules on the show does it a lot, where like they put like that kind of thing around their eyes, so it's like purposely almost making it look like you haven't slept in a while. It's like a big emo thing, and then it's like a lot of purple glitter just all over. Glitter, my friend. So
wow, so many beautiful choices.
I'm gonna later too, so you're gonna probably be like, "That's none of that is what you just said."
I want you to like post a picture of this. I'm gonna go with whatever the claw one was that you were saying.
Oh, the one with that was the one. So it was like a lot
turquoise?
Of royal blue metallic smear with like the claw false eyelashes. It's beautiful. It's actually a really good one.
I'm gonna go with that one. That one sounds good. It sounds like a Maddie look.
Who do you think? Okay, I got who you are. Who do you think that you would get?
Based on these answers?
Well, I know that you think that you're. God, she's so. It's funny. I actually don't even remember her character's name. Yes, thank you. You said that you relate to Lexi, which actually I feel like I can see that. But who do you think that maybe you would also get, since you didn't get Lexi?
The only other one would be maybe Kat, because she has an OnlyFans.
You have moments of insecurity, but you're truly recognizing your power. You're confident, strong, and fierce. You are Kat Hernandez. Oh, shit. Great character.
Hell yeah.
Picture of that as well. All right, well. And yeah, I don't know how you would describe the smear that she puts on her.
She's the only one in the show, too, that just doesn't seem like a horrible fucking person, too.
Well,
besides Lexi.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Lexi's just like nothing. She was like writing a play, but it was literally just like conversations with her sister.
Yeah. That's
it's just not.
Her character is tragic, like in a fun, like everyone else is like tragic in like really like obscene, dramatic ways, and hers is just like a silent, simple sort of tragic.
I can definitely relate to like getting all dressed up though, and then going to like talk to a boy, and then just like completely pretending that like you're not really there to see him.
Yeah.
I did that one time with this guy at the mall in this store that was kind of like a Roxy store,
Mm-hmm.
But it was like super hot, and I used to like tell my mom I was going to Starbucks and then drive like it was like 30 minutes away to go to this mall, and then I would just walk around the store and then like barely talk to him and then leave.
Just like grabbing a shirt, like examining it.
Like I have no money.
Yeah. Oh man, I
was looking for a Rip Curl wetsuit. Again.
Oh shit. All right. Well, I feel like we learned a lot this evening. I feel like we're hitting.
Which character do you think you are? You're Rue.
I was Rue. I was
you
Rue.
were Rue, yeah.
And now I'm like I feel bad, but I'm blanking on his name. But like her buddy in NA who's like, hey, you should do better. And
the old man. I don't know his name.
That would be like me now, where I'm just kind of like looking at all these kids now. I'm like, oh boy, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Better than being like Cal, Nate's dad.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because there's not a whole lot of male representation on that show, and I don't really relate to
definitely not a whole lot
either.
of positive male representation.
Yeah. Which, I mean, hey, who blames
Fair
them,
enough.
right? Yeah. Well, thank you for those of you who joined us for Euphoria Chat.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Kaylin, as always, thank you for being the co-host with my host. I'll say goodnight to y'all.
All right, good night. Bye.
Recording stop.